Welcome to the Building Up Women in Property podcast. I'm your host, Rebecca Bangura, and I'm thrilled to have you here with me today. This podcast is for ambitious women who work in property and construction, who want to learn how to have a career they love on their terms. Join me every week where I'll leave you excited and confident to take your next steps. Thanks for being here with me. Now let's get started. Welcome wherever you are listening from. It is wonderful to have you here with me today. Today, we are talking about shifting perspective. And I think that this is one of those fundamental skills that we should be learning as children in schools. But unfortunately, it's something that just isn't part of our curriculum. And so I want to take you through this process today. I want to explain to you why I think this is such an important skill to cultivate. And I want to be clear, this is a skill. It's something that we can learn. It's something that we practice, and it's something that we get better at. This is a skill that we can learn as adults. And I think it's a really important one that we do, because when we do, I actually think it just opens up so much to us personally. It allows us to connect more deeply with people. It allows us to find more fulfillment and enjoyment in what we do. It allows us to push ourselves further and explore possibilities and opportunities that we have never considered for ourselves before. And the reason this came to mind to talk about this topic today was because of a conversation I had with one of my coaching clients. Because as part of the coaching process, I invite my clients to really get clear on what their goals are. And part of the work we do is then around establishing that goal, working out a plan, getting into action on that plan, and then coming back and evaluating what worked, what didn't, what could you do differently, and then putting a new plan into place, and then taking new actions based on the feedback that you have. And it's a really simple process, but unfortunately it isn't an easy one. And that's why I think having a coach, having someone supporting you and challenging you and guiding you is really important, because it keeps us focused, it keeps us on track, and it keeps us pushing the boundaries of our comfort zone. But I'm digressing a little bit. But one of the exercises I get my clients to do it's called the Remarkable Life Exercise. And it's something that I got from Debbie Millman from an interview with Tim Ferriss a number of years ago. And in this, she actually gets you to write a letter to yourself, or almost a diary entry to yourself 10 years in the future, exploring what your life looks like in the day-to-day. What are the things you are doing? What are the things that are bringing you joy? Where do you live? What are you wearing? Like, what does your life look and feel like? And I've personally found this to be such a powerful exercise, because it gets us away from just having smart goals and puts us into, what does that feel like? What does that look like for us? And it humanizes and makes that goal a lot more relatable and clear in our minds as an image, rather than just something we've written down on paper. And I'll actually link this exercise in the show notes so you can do it yourselves. But I gave this exercise to one of my clients, and she came back with this beautiful feedback. She came back and said, it was an enjoyable exercise, but what she really got from it was that what she thinks she wants and what she has right now are actually very similar. So she's actually living the life she dreams of living right now, but she hasn't been able to see that before. And that is just mind-blowing when you think about it. And it's something that I can absolutely relate to, because when I think about my values and what drives me and what I want most from my life, I have most of that right now, but still sometimes we can be so focused on this next point we're working towards that we forget to stop and actually smell the roses. We forget to enjoy where we are right now and appreciate the little things day to day that bring us happiness, that bring us joy, that bring us success and fulfillment. And when we recognize that, it allows us to feel all those feelings in the moment instead of waiting for them one day, someday. And we actually get to connect with that right now and enjoy all of those good things in this present moment. And I sometimes talk about this as being when I have X, I will feel Y. And it's this fallacy that we have in our minds around, when I achieve this big goal, suddenly I'll feel successful. Suddenly I'll feel worthy. Suddenly I'll feel accomplished. Suddenly all of the challenges I face in life will disappear, or all of my feelings will go away. And that just simply isn't the reality of things. And I think the sooner we can recognize that goals are brilliant, they drive us forward, they give us purpose, they challenge us. And for that reason, I absolutely love having big goals. But we need to stop connecting our worthiness and our sense of fulfillment with achieving something down the track. Because the truth is, when you achieve that big goal, when you get the promotion, when you earn that money, when you do whatever the thing is that you're trying to do, you will get to that point, you will get to that finish line, and you will be thrown a new set of challenges. You will still feel like you, right? Fundamentally, you won't have shifted. Fundamentally, you are still you. Life does not miraculously change overnight when you achieve a goal. And so it becomes so important to enjoy the process. And in order to do that, we need to be able to shift our perspective and really start to see things from a new light, and from a light that allows us to enjoy the journey as much as that destination or that goal that we are seeking to achieve. And as I said, this is something we can all learn to do, and something I really think is worthwhile everyone taking the time and making the effort to really challenge themselves to develop the skill of shifting perspective and reframing things in our own lives. And so if we think about perspective, it's how we understand the world around us. And it is unique to each of us. How I view something is completely different to how you view something, even if we are looking at exactly the same thing. And I always think the best way to think of this is, looking at a physical thing, like looking at a physical table with stuff on it. You will perceive things differently to how I do. And how we understand it, how we interpret things, is based on our beliefs of ourselves and how the world exists, which have been ingrained in us since our birth and been shaped as we grow up and have had different experiences. And our perspective is shaped by our values and our priorities. And all of these things come together to give us a certain view. And that is just our natural default position. But someone else will look at the same thing and we'll see something completely different. Now, neither one is better or worse. It's not a competition, but it is important to say that these differences exist, and that is a great thing, because the more perspectives we have, the more possibilities and opportunities exist. And one way we can get other perspectives is by seeking them from other people. And that can be really helpful at certain times. If you've ever had that experience of losing your keys, or what I find is losing my glasses and I cannot see them anywhere. And my husband will walk in and see them sitting right on my desk, right in front of me. And I've been searching for 20 minutes. And it's just because in my mind, I've looked there already and I'm blinded to it, and it's ridiculous, but it happens all the time. And that's why, and that's why it happens so often that you'll have lost your keys and someone will walk in and find them in a minute or two, and you've been searching for so long, because our brain has a preconceived notion and we're not necessarily seeing the bigger picture.
I hope you've been enjoying the episode. I wanted to take a moment to let you know about my free Career Confidence Masterclass. This is for ambitious career-orientated women who are ready to stop playing small and to confidently create a career you love. Head over to my website, beautifuldisruptions.com, for more info. Now let's get back to the episode.
So whilst it can be really helpful to get other people's perspective and input and help finding glasses, we actually want this to be a skill that we can build in ourselves, because when we do, it allows us to tap into our own power. It allows us to build connection with others. It allows us to create new opportunities and explore possibilities beyond what we ever thought of in the past or beyond our own awareness. And we are also able to find more fulfillment and more joy in the process. And it also builds more resilience in us. Or we face difficult situations in a more empowered way that gets better results for us and for others in the long run. I want to really throw the ball to you here and suggest that you take the time to get uncomfortable, to push yourself and your thinking and your perspective to really create those shifts and to make it a habit, right? Make this part of how you do things moving forward. Start to question yourself. Allow yourself to explore new perspectives and really have a little bit of fun with this process. Because as I said, this is a skill we want to develop that takes time, but allow this process to be fun and just find the little gems as you go and enjoy those. So how do we go about shifting our perspective or reframing something? The first thing is to increase our self-awareness. And I talk about this a lot because it is so important. Most people go through life doing what they do without ever stopping to think about why. Our bodies and our minds are fantastic, and we are able to operate often at a high level on autopilot. But when we are willing to turn that button off, turn the autopilot off, and actually explore things more and make conscious decisions from an intentional place, that is when we tap into our potential. And I'm the first to admit that self-awareness can be really daunting. It requires us to kind of dig deeper into who we are and what we believe and why we do what we do. But with that comes so much opportunity. And it allows us to appreciate and acknowledge the brilliant things we do, but also it gives us the power to change the things that we don't love or to focus on the things that we want to improve or shift. So that first part is really about increasing your own self-awareness. That's understanding your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions to things. And a good way to kind of get into that is to practice some mindfulness, right? Start journaling, see what comes up for you, spend time meditating, and really observe your thoughts and your mindset and what you are thinking in a particular moment. And as I said, and how you react to that situation. And then the second part is to challenge your beliefs. Now, the way I like to approach this is write down what is going on for you and then actually look for what are the facts. Because generally, when we tell stories, whether it's to ourselves or other people, it comes with all this embellishment. It comes with our own perspective. So when we actually force ourselves to pull out the facts of a situation, and by facts, I mean something that everyone would agree on. There is no right or wrong or interpreting of information. It is just a fact. Everyone would agree on it. And when we do that, we get to see how much of our own lens, our own perspective has been put onto a situation. And again, this happens naturally, and it happens because we hold our own beliefs. And frankly, many of them are limiting beliefs or negative thought patterns that we are not even aware of. So I want you to really question the validity of what you're thinking and your beliefs and seek evidence that counters them. So really start to challenge those thoughts and find evidence that counters them. Because the more you can start to focus on empowering and positive beliefs that align with your goals and your aspirations and what you want, the more your perspective will shift towards them. The third thing I want you to do is to actively seek out different points of view. And the more diverse thinking we have, the more diverse thoughts we are exposed to, the better outcomes we will achieve, right? This is proven time and time again. It's why they say, organizations with diverse teams get better bottom line results, because that natural convergence of ideas, and the challenge and the conflict resolution that has to go on in those situations does lead to better outcomes. It gets people asking better questions and it leads to better outcomes. So a way to do that is not necessarily having to go out to someone else, but it's about broadening your own horizons, right? It's about reading books. It can be listening to podcasts or attending workshops that may be something a little bit out of your comfort zone or a little bit out of the norm for you, but increasing your exposure and your awareness to new ideas and new approaches. The fourth thing is I want you to consciously view the challenge ahead of you as an opportunity. Now, it requires practice and it can be very uncomfortable to start with, but I want you to explore the potential benefits or lessons that can be derived from a difficult situation or a challenging moment in your life. And for me, I always come back to this question of, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? I say, why is this happening for me? What am I getting from this? And that really forces my brain to answer that question. And before you know it, I can see a whole bunch of positives that 5 or 10 minutes ago were just so far from my reality or were so far from my awareness. And that process, it empowers you. It allows you to, as I said, stand in your power and really take hold of what happens next. And it shifts us out of victim mentality and it allows us to do great things from what may be a difficult or uncomfortable position. And the final one I want to leave you with is practicing gratitude and appreciation. Now, this sounds so basic and so obvious, but if you're anything like me, it is something I really need to put time to. I need to focus on this. I need to focus on those little wins, those little moments of joy, because that is what life is actually made up of. That is the day-to-day living. That is our day-to-day experience. And so by actually cultivating that practice of gratitude and regularly acknowledging and appreciating the positive aspects in our lives and the positive achievements and the wonderful experiences we have. It allows us to focus on what we already have instead of what we lack. And when we shift our mindset to that, when we start to focus on the present moment and what we are doing right and what is going well in the world and in our lives and in our careers, we start to really appreciate the journey that we're on and we start to have more fun. And when we're in that place of gratitude, appreciation, fun, possibility, that is when we actually achieve more and we get closer to those big goals we are working on. And that is when we take pride in what we are doing and appreciate ourselves for who we are and what we have accomplished and what we are accomplishing. And I think that is the biggest gift we can give ourselves. And it is also the most empowering thing that will allow us to achieve those big goals in our life. So I want you to think about this today. I want you to think about, how can I shift my perspective in any moment today? What can I do? And I want you to start practicing those 5 things of increasing your self-awareness, challenging your beliefs in that moment. How can you seek out new, different perspectives and reframe the challenges into opportunities? And lastly, how can you start to practice more appreciation and gratitude for the life you are living right now and the amazing things you are doing in the world? Because I have no doubt you are doing them. Even if you don't see them right now, I'm going to tell you 5 minutes on the phone with me and I will see the brilliance in you because it's there. And we just want that little shift, that little tweak that pushes us forward and gives us the courage to take that next step in our lives and in our careers. Because my friend, you've got this. Because our potential is limitless if we are willing to do the work and we are willing to go in and challenge ourselves and develop new skills. And this, shifting your perspective and the ability to reframe things in your life, will be a game changer. So I'm going to leave you there. Have a beautiful day. Until next time.
Thank you for joining me on the Building Up Women in Property podcast. I'm Rebecca Bangura, and if you'd like to learn more about what I do, head over to LinkedIn and connect with me. Have a beautiful day, and I'll see you next time.